Hey everybody, it's Neil from WineExpedition.com on a Sunday in beautiful Sonoma, California, once again with Craig Hazerow from Sojourn Cellars. How are you, Craig?
Great. Thanks so much.
We just tasted some of the most amazing Pinot Noir I've ever had, and Craig reminded me that they also make Cabernet here, so we thought we'd try a glass. What are we drinking?
This is the 2006 Home Ranch.
Home Ranch.
Cabernet. The Home Ranch.
Well, those grapes are close to you.
Very close. Actually, they're in my backyard. We planted 2,000.
Turn the bottle up so we can see it.
We planted 2,100 grapevines in my backyard in 2002, and what we're tasting is the second vintage, of what we call the Home Ranch, or the BYB, the Backyard Brew, and so that's what we have in our glass.
All right. So this is grown in Sonoma.
Grown in Sonoma, in the Sonoma Valley here, about 10 minutes west of the Sonoma Square, just off Arnold Drive.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So tight space planting Cabernet. So on the nose, Neil, what you're going to get here is there's some really big eucalyptus trees that are on one edge of the property. And what those eucalyptus trees provide as far as a component in the wine is a little bit of eucalyptus or mint or menthol. And so you'll notice on the nose just a little bit of that minty menthol.
It's in the background there, yeah.
This wine's very interesting. It starts off as with a extremely concentrated blueberry component. And again, this is a relatively new, it's a new wine for us. We've just made it in both 05 and 06 so far, or just released 2 vintages. 06 being the second vintage off the property. So it's kind of blueberry, and then it's got a dark chocolate component. So we call it our blueberry mint chocolate yogurt kind of wine.
That sounds very technical and very, it rolls right off the tongue.
Very technical.
Yeah. You're not kidding. I mean, it's almost blueberry to the point of, it reminds me of, I even used to that characteristic in like a Petite Syrah, the blueberry pie thing, but that chocolate is something else, huh?
It is. And, it's interesting. I think the blueberry is starting to move a little bit, the blueberry is starting to move a little bit to a blackberry as the wine matures, as the wine matures, as the wine gets a little bit older, as it continues to develop, additional nuances. I think the blueberry goes to blackberry. It's also very fleshy. It's got a great, again, kind of that hallmark Eric Bradley mouthfeel.
Yeah, I'm sitting there as you say that. I'm like, sucking on my tongue.
Fleshy and fun, more forward than structured for Cabernet. This is a great fun wine.
Yeah.
And we definitely priced it, appropriately at $39. It's a relative bargain in the Cabernet space for the level of quality.
And sometimes I find cabs are best to, have with a steak. It's a food wine. This is a wine I could drink all by itself and just,
Great aperitif wine.
Yeah.
Kind of a before dinner, definitely can be consumed as a before dinner wine.
Well, I'm really glad that that you pointed out the fact that Sojourn isn't just Pinot Noir, because that's where I discovered you, is via the Pinot Noir. And so I'm glad you pointed out this component, because these cabs are wonderful, and somebody should, people need to try this as well.
Yeah, many have. We, although we started off making Cabernet in 2001 and then Pinot in 04, we've gotten so many accolades on our Pinots, and as a result, our customer base is dominated by,
Pinophiles,
by more Pinot folks than cab folks.
Right.
That the cabs sometimes can be a little bit on the background.
Right. That's what we're getting to. The other part of the story of Sojourn that we can't neglect is Ziggy.
Right, Ziggy.
If the camera could pan down, and we'll see Ziggy here is hard at work. I assume just the Sojourn mascot, but there's so much more than that. And of course, the natural question that comes to most people's mind, I'm sure, is it more like Ziggy Marley or Ziggy Stardust?
Well, actually, Ziggy Zaggy. So Ziggy was trained. Ziggy's a very special dog. She's actually trained as a drug dog for the wine business. And Ziggy, come here.
Ziggy doesn't like our cameras either.
Ziggy.
A drug dog for the wine industry.
Well, Ziggy was trained to smell for 2 years by a trainer to smell 4 parts per trillion of TCA, or the chemical that that is commonly known as.
She's a cork dog.
Well, she was actually trained by one of the folks that produces adjunct wood, or wood for some of the lower priced wines in the marketplace.
Right.
And TCA can not only be in cork, it can also be in the oak wood that barrels get made from, and other oak products that go into the winemaking process.
Wow.
So
obviously that would be a liability for somebody who's selling wood products for the wine industry to have TCA in their products.
that would. And so Ziggy was trained to smell a very intensive 2-year training program to be able to smell a very low level of TCA, so that if these folks had an issue, they could bring Ziggy in to help identify a very specific lot of wood that potentially had a problem.
That's amazing.
So, yeah.
Have you ever used her in your bottling facility to make sure?
Not in ours. No, she doesn't actually do very well smelling cork. She does very well smelling wood staves, though.
Right.
And that's really what she was trained for. She's actually highlighted this month in the June edition of Food and Wine magazine by Ray Isle, who wrote a great article and story on it. People can.
She has her own news article.
She does. People can go to the June issue of Food and Wine magazine and learn more about Ziggy, or online at foodandwine.com.
Nice work, Ziggy. You know, there's all sorts of books on winery dogs, but I think the average dog you meet in the winery doesn't have the skills that Ziggy does. That's pretty special.
She is. She's a special dog. She's a great dog. She's very well trained and very easygoing. Most of the people that come here really enjoy her presence here in the Sojourn Tasting Salon.
And the Sojourn Tasting Salon, again, is right here in downtown Sonoma, right off the square.
Right off the square. We're open by appointment.
Somebody can just pick up the phone, go to your website, pick up the phone and call you.
Absolutely. Give us a call. Get some time on the calendar. We'd love to have you here. Love to host you for a tasting.
Free of charge.
No charge.
Doesn't cost any money. Craig, thanks so much.
Great, Neil. Thank you very much.
Great seeing you again.
Good to see you too.
Ziggy, take care.